Hello everyone, I'm Laura Cornish, Editor-in-Chief of Mining Review Africa, and I'm coming to you from Mining Indaba 2022. Today I'm joined by Chris Green. Chris is a director for Hogan Lovells, and we're going to be chatting about the Russia-Ukraine issue, which is obviously really pertinent at the moment. Chris, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So let's jump right into it. Russia, Ukraine, how's it actually affecting Africa? Because in my mind it shouldn't, but it obviously is, right?
Well, I mean, it is an interesting dichotomy, right? So Russia is obviously an important global trade partner, but relative to other investors, it is a relatively small trade partner and investor on the African continent. So whilst Africa is obviously not immune to the global macroeconomic consequences of the conflict, the direct impact from an investment perspective is, I suppose, more muted than it would be in other parts of the world.
Okay. Does it have an impact on the mining industry?
It does, and again, it creates a tension, which is interesting. Russia is obviously a big producer of some of the important platinum group metals. It's an important producer and exporter of aluminium. It's an important producer and exporter of iron ore and gold. A lot of those things can be readily sourced and are provided and exported in large part by other African jurisdictions. So you would expect, and logically, one of the, for want of a better word, positive consequences of the conflict is that the world would need to realign and source those products from other African jurisdictions. So you would expect it to have a positive impact in many respects. But again, that is tempered by some of the structural issues that many African mining jurisdictions face.
Okay. Are there long-term complications for what's happening for the mining sector?
I'm not sure that there are long-term complications for the mining sector specifically as a result of this. There are obviously long-term implications and complications at a macro level. We've already seen things like a number of African states abstaining from key General Assembly resolutions when it comes to condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And that will obviously have an implication for foreign relations between those African states and other powers. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, as global demand grows for a number of the resources which are now constrained in terms of Russian export, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Everybody knows we're in a cycle where ESG is top of everyone's mind. Energy transition is top of everyone's mind. A lot of these minerals and metals that are now supply constrained are fundamentally important to that energy transition, catalytic converters and the like. So there are going to be, long-lasting, I suppose, implications of the conflict.
But are you saying that Africa can benefit from this situation? That's what you're saying, right?
I think I'm saying Africa could benefit and should benefit from a lot of what's going on. But again, you need only look at a place like South Africa. I don't think South African mining sector can look around and blame any stagnation or lack of growth necessarily on the conflict in Russia. I think that there are more direct issues that we need to deal with first. We need to deal with an energy crisis. We need to deal with logistics constraints. We need to deal with regulatory certainty. There are other things that are important to deal with.
You can't just blame it on the Russia-Ukraine
exactly.
situation. Chris, let's just say that this situation with Russia and Ukraine doesn't last that long. What happens then? Are we going to take advantage of it? Do we have enough time, or are we just going to go back to normal?
Well, again, I think that there should be, looking at it logically, there should be, for a lot of South African producers and exporters, we should see a short to medium term uptick in sales and revenue, because obviously the global market needs to realign where it's obtaining these resources from. But in terms of again, longer lasting consequences, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And what would you say to mining companies that should be taking advantage of the situation right now?
I think, again, it's important to bear in mind the market that you're operating in, not necessarily to have knee-jerk reactions to the fact that there's a Russia-Ukraine conflict. The fundamentals for doing deals, specifically in a South African context, are still good from an international perspective. The rand is weakened, interest rates are relatively low, commodity prices are up. So I think it's still important to look at the fundamentals of the deal that you're wanting to do. And not to have any knee-jerk reactions to the fact that there is this global crisis or this conflict in the Ukraine.
Right, I think the mining industry likes to rely on those knee-jerk reactions sometimes. It tells a story for them that makes it a bit easier.
Exactly, yes.
Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Good to know that we can take positive out of the Russia-Ukraine situation, not only just negative. So it's been great to chat to you and find out a little bit more about that.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me. Please visit www.miningreview.com for more videos from Mining Indaba 2022.